All right, that's way higher kilobits per second. I don't think I've ever seen it over 10,000. Is it like 12,000, 13,000? Okay. Full green bars. No drop frames. I think I fixed it. Even more importantly, when I started up my computer, it was clearer than I've ever seen it when it fired up. Um, I think I fixed it. And it looks on this end at least like everything's working. Let me peek. Check my monitor. Check, check. Check, check. That was quick. Okay, I'll drop a Discord announcement. And I'm an hour late because I don't understand technology, but we are live! Exclamation mark. Well, ad starts in 5 minutes. Let's run that now. Go ahead and run it while everybody figures out how to get in here again. Tech support. I need it. If I had $1 for every time I ruined a stream because of tech, I'd have a lot of dollars. Like a lot of dollars. It's just how it goes, man. But I think I figured her out. Acetylic acid. Is that acetaminophen? Is that Tylenol? Pretty sure that's Tylenol. It seems smoother, right? Oh, wait. Now I'm actually showing that it's dropping in the back. My bitrate just plummeted. I don't know what happened, but it just plummeted. It looked like it was doing good. And then now my bitrate's in the trash and I'm dropping frames like crazy. I don't know what just happened. One second. Give me just 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, spoken a little too soon. Let me try something. Cause like it was fine, and then all of a sudden it just plummeted. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to come back. Cause I was good. I was like all green, everything was fine. I had all this bandwidth. I'd never even seen it over 10,000 kilobits per second. I don't know what's happening. This is wild. Never encountered these issues before. My bitrate was really good right at the beginning of stream. I don't know what happened. How are we now? Am I smooth now? Am I still choppy? Aspirin, not Tylenol. Acylatic acid. I have no idea what just happened. We were good. Everything seemed really smooth. And now it seems to be not doing good again. Keeps buffering. This is so weird. It started off so strong. Something is happening. Software wise. Maybe I should uninstall OBS and reinstall OBS. This is so frustrating. I have 11,000 bitrate from Twitch, but I'm only getting 6,000 from OBS. I don't know how to fix this. Trying to think. It's got to be a software issue. It's like a setting. Still choppy. I've got my bitrate set in the back end. I mean, shit, do I just up this? Does that help at all? If I up my bitrate in my settings? Now I'm seeing 20,000 kilobits per second. I don't know what's going on. Why is this constantly messing up? Let's have it a better moment this minute. I mean, from my end, it looks like it's bad. I'm seeing 1 bar on my bandwidth on the OBS side of things. Bitrate and Twitch on it looks all red. And I have it on the NVIDIA encoder. I just updated my AMD chipset drivers. Everything's refreshed. The only thing I can think that I could try to do is uninstall OBS and reinstall it. And I did have a Stream Elements plugin that I tried to install that I thought I reinstalled or that I uninstalled. I can only imagine when I tried to start doing multi-streaming that might have been, I might have gotten screwed up trying to do the multi-streaming thing. I'm so sorry, chat. I'm sorry today's stream is rough. I can't seem to get the hardware to play right. I think it's a software issue. I can't seem to get the software to play nice. I might just have to. Is it looking and sounding good? Am I here? It seems intermittent. Yeah, I'm not. It doesn't look like I'm dropping too many frames anymore. I'm just so confused why it was doing really good and then it started being really, really bad all of a sudden, really fast. Am I still choppy? Am I here? Because I did want to talk about the protests. I wanted to talk about some other things. Okay, it seems better. It seems like things are working better. Okay, I think it might have been a VPN issue. Okay, well. Okay, if I'm here and it's not going to shit out on me, then maybe I'll try to do the stream. If we end up with much more issues, I'm probably just going to push today's topic and stream to tomorrow. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we're in a better place now. Happy Monday. How is everybody doing? Everything looks good? I kind of want to hit somebody. This is really frustrating because it's been crazy. January 12th, 2026. Trump is a fascist. Water is wet. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. I'm tired, but here we are. I made the mistake of looking at my YouTube comments today. That's why I'm already so flustered. I'm seeing comment after comment after comment saying, look at these paid protesters. Soros is cutting checks. Bestie, look at my bank account. I'm not getting paid. I'm literally not getting paid. I am out in the streets for the love of the game. And by love of the game, I mean human rights. So let's correct the record on who is there. I want to get into it. I want to talk about it. I was at a protest. For anybody that wasn't on my TikTok live this past Saturday, I attended a giant march, 5,000 or more strong. It was a multi-coalition, multi-organization coalition march with politicians, representatives, elected representatives, representatives running for office, and I want to go who was out. I want to go over who was out there because it wasn't Antifa super soldiers. It was IDEPSCA, which is the Institute of Popular Education of Southern California. It was Valley Defensa, who organizes in the Valley. They defend the Valley. But can you believe it? 50501 SoCal. They do a lot of on-the-ground organizing, outreach, direct action organizing for ballot measures, stuff like that. PSL was present and loud. They've been doing an amazing job bringing together the coalition. They seem to be the ones that are getting people on the ground. So hats off to them. And even DSA was there. You know, we don't like DSA. DSA is problematic. And they were there. So they're better than the liberals who are at home tweeting. At least they were there. There were liberals with extra steps, but they were there. And that's what's important. The narrative Saturday flipped from No Kings protest to ICE get the out of our city. So the comments, though, in the comments section of my YouTube video are people cheering on ICE. They're cheering on the raids. Those are the people who, no doubt, they are hated by their own neighbors. So you know the type. These are the people that are out in your front yard measuring your grass with a tape measurer. They're the HOA president that fines you for your trash cans being out 5 minutes after they're picked up. That's who's cheering for fascism. Those are the people that have soul rot. And imagine seeing families torn apart and thinking, yes, this is good for my property value. I was out there because I have a soul. That's why I was out there. Not because I was paid. So, I want to play a game. Chat, I want you to join me. We're going to call this the Grifter Index. So, since the internet thinks that we are all paid actors, paid protesters, or whatever, I want to know, what is your price? Hypothetically, how much would a billionaire have to pay you to stand out in the middle of the road holding a sign for a cause you don't even believe in? Would it be $500? Would waiving your student loans be enough? Please drop your sellout price in chat, or if you're watching this as a clip, in the comments below. Let's see how cheap our morals actually are. What are you doing it for? Me, I'm out there for free. I'm doing it for the love of the game. And by love of the game, I do mean human rights. But how much would your dollar be? I want to know. How much do you need to just stand in the street, getting honked at, having police leering at you, possibly, putting yourself in harm's way? Because we know what happened recently. You know these people are potentially putting their lives on the line. So you tell me, what is your price? How much how much would Jeff Bezos have to drop in your bank account to get you out there if you don't care? What is it? What is the dollar amount? Let's go ahead and get going then. Rough start to the stream. Crazy Dad said these are the same people who complained about masks, now saying the need to protect their identity. Yeah. These are the people that didn't want people wearing masks because that somehow affected them. And now that we want no law enforcement with masks because we want to be able to recognize these law enforcement agents so they're not just, masked terrorists that aren't, they're taking advantage of the fact that our law enforcement is masked. Like that just makes common sense. But now that that's what we want, they're like, no. They must have their masks. They must have their identities protected. It just doesn't make any sense. It honestly just doesn't make sense. Yeah, fascists have no problem with hypocrisy. That's true. That's very true. Ted Carlife says, it depends on what it's about, as I don't get into other people's business. Now, maybe 300 gigabits per second. What? Wait. 300. Wait. You're going to go out there and protest for internet speed? Crazy Dad says, I can't be bought. I do what I want because I want to, not because I'm paid to. A few coffees. That's it. If we give you coffee, you're going to go out there and hold a sign. Somebody let the unions know. All you got to do is make coffee. Honestly, that would get me out there. I already care about it though. It's not getting me out there for a cause that I don't believe in. That's just further enticing me. If you throw coffee in the mix, I'll be out there for sure. 100%. I love coffee. I'm such a coffee drinker. Like, I'm so addicted. I'm actually addicted to coffee though, is the thing. I'm actually addicted. I think that's funny. Ted said I'd get out there for a few coffees. Now, it is Monday. You know the vibe. We're going to get into it. Now it's time for news for people with a job. You know what? We need a jingle. I want a jingle. Chat, what do you think? Do we need a jingle? Let's see if this works. Yeah, I love a good latte too. All right, everybody. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2006. And it is time for Monday News for People with a Job. Brought to you by Trans X Bombshell. All right. Here's our doom scrolling digest. Your information overload. It's an anti-corporate speak piece. So, the drone wars. Put on your tinfoil hats because the news is quite dystopian, chat. Today, DHS actually just launched a new drone office. They're actually spending $115 million on airspace sovereignty. Now, that is to protect the World Cup venues, which translation, they're building a panopticon to watch us from the sky. They can't find money for housing, but they can find money for drones. They can't find money for healthcare, but they have $115 million to buy robot birds just to watch you sneeze. Priorities. So, what do you think? When's the last time you saw a drone and thought, oh man, that makes me feel safer? When's the last time you noticed a drone in the sky? Personally, I was at the march. That was the last time I saw a drone. There was a drone in the sky. Literally, anytime you're at a protest, you could just look up. You see them, they just hover in the air. And you can kind of tell the cop ones. The cop ones definitely look different. They're like very sleek quad. They seem like they're made to like deploy out of the back of a van, like out the roof. They have like very militarized versions, obviously, because you know the cops are just private military for the rich. I see drones all the time. Honestly, I see drones at protests. People use them privately. There's a lot of personal drones in Los Angeles. People like to fly them. I know the laws are changing really rapidly, but do we need like a department of drones? Like $115 million for an army of drones? Y'all, that's scary. I don't remember the last drone I saw, but I see helicopters all the time. Helicopters are in and of themselves a completely different problem. And honestly, a lot of the reason why you see so many helicopters in Los Angeles is because those Vietnam pilots came back and needed a job, and they kind of put them into the LAPD and have justified the funding ever since. We didn't have a fleet of helicopters prior to the Vietnam War. That's kind of hot take. You never, as I see them snooping. Yeah, the drones are never going away. It's a technology that we always wanted to have, that we never needed to have. It's the cat coming out of the bag. The cat's not going back in the bag. I remember being a kid and the coolest idea of being able to drive a robot car with a camera and being able to like spy. Like in the movies, they always had like the RC cars. They put the camera on. There was always like kids movies like that. It's never going away. Um, I hear them more than I see them. Yeah, you could definitely hear them rip by, like fly by. Well, pretty soon they're gonna be at every major event that you could think of, and if the United States is doing it, you know you're gonna see them where you're at. If you're watching this from outside the U.S., we set the tone when it comes to what is like I don't know, just like professional standards. Not that we're not that professional even means professional anymore. Um, we we set the tone for what it means to look successful. It, does it the perception of success, the perception of empire? Like if you want to look at like what we're doing as a template, it's a template for how to lord over the world. And so anybody that wants to have that kind of like presence where they want to lord over the world, they're going to copy us. And that's all the fascists. That's all of the governments that want to rule with an iron fist instead of the governments that want their communities and people to support them. The video's starting to buffer a fair amount again. That's weird. I don't know why. Honestly, I feel like I have no control over it, and that sucks because I'm supposed to have a lot of control over this. You think it changed the second they attached bombs to them? That line was crossed. Yeah, but I mean that's kind of the line that we're crossing now. That's a really good point, Ted. I think a lot of what we're seeing now is there was a line. There was a very firm line in the sand. And when I was a kid, it existed. And I think it existed up until like maybe 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago. Like not even that long ago. Like realistically, like 5 years maybe. When we decided robots killing people is no longer a problem. That line in the sand doesn't exist anymore. And when I was a kid, it was like you can't use like soldiers. Like if you're going to war, you have to use soldiers. You have to use people. Um, we didn't have robots. We didn't have drones. We didn't have all this automated killing. Um, that was the line in the sand that within our lifetime it crossed. We crossed it, and now there's some terrible things happening with drones and drone bombs, and we crossed that line. That cat's not going back in the bag either. And it is a new world. We're in a new world. Um, Drones are here. AI is here. We're not putting those things back in the box. It's just we need to move forward and figure out how to make the world a better place for people because it's getting away from us. Um, we are not in control, and it seems like nobody can admit that. Like if capitalism is what determines the market and the market the markets can like defend themselves like what it's a part of self-destruction. Yeah, I mean we are very self-destructive, but we've gotten to the point to where we can't be honest about the problem. The problem is there is no free market. Every market is manipulated. Scarcity is fake. There is no such thing as supply and demand anymore because we could produce anything we possibly needed. Anything we could possibly ever need, we can now produce more of it than we could ever possibly need. And that goes forever. Like, we can make diamonds now. And so, capitalism is a lie. It is a lie. And there's no such thing as scarcity. Anybody that starves at this point, it's pretty much intentional. Anybody that dies from a curable disease, it's pretty much intentional. It's so that the rich can remain in power. Because if everybody had everything, there's nothing to separate us from them. There's nothing that makes us listen to them. Therefore, everything must stay the same. Otherwise, those that have do not remain in power. That's where we're at. We have robots that can go to war for us. We don't even have to go to war. We're making people do menial tasks for no reason. Like we could be designing robots to keep everything clean and not make anybody clean. And instead training robot technicians and putting money into teaching people to code and to work with robots because that is the direction everything is going, and make sure that as long as people are doing their labor, they have access to all the resources they could need. And if you become incapable of that, then we should have, uh, disability that gives you a dignified life, because that is not what our disability offers now. That is the future we should all be fighting for. You don't need excess. You just need access to resources. People have stockpiled excess resources for millennia because that was the fallback plan. If you needed stuff and the world got crazy, you needed to have extra stuff. Now, there's enough stuff. There's so much stuff. We have so much extra that there are farmers who will bury entire fields of crops so it doesn't mess up the price that they get for the rest of their crops. There's like a certain amount of crops they're supposed to put into the market because shipping and everything is efficient only to a certain point. And then if they flood the market, the cost of their product goes down. So they don't want to put that much into the market because then it doesn't make sense to ship their product, because the amount that they can ship is a set amount in the crate. And so they want to maximize their profit and have the amount that they can fit in the crate be the amount the cost value intersects at. And at this point, that's how a lot of things are figured out. It's not how much somebody needs something or how good something is. It's what's most efficient for profit. And that's pretty much what most people fail to admit. And that's why capitalism sucks. That's why it's honestly super inefficient. Now, I've gone off on a huge tirade. I was talking about drones. Hopefully the buffer is sticking. Hopefully I'm smooth. We have to mention Renee Nicole Good. Now, the shooting in Minneapolis by ICE is why we are marching. And it's not abstract. And while we're at it, Venezuela, the illegal war rhetoric coming out of the administration regarding the oil reserves, it's 2003 all over again. They want the oil, besties. I've already covered that in clips previously. It's always about the oil. The empire never changes. It just gets a worse spray tan. And we've already established Venezuela has the largest unrefined oil reserves in the world. And Trump himself has already admitted on numerous occasions it's about the oil. So don't be mistaken. This is and always has been about the oil. Small win though. I do want to mention just briefly as we wrap up our news segment that the FCC is trying to push a handset unlocking today. Like finally we should be able to unlock our phones from the carriers. Now, if we could just unlock the children from the cages, that would be great. But sure, great. Thanks for letting me switch to AT&T easier, I guess. Then the Spectrum beef. Now, speaking of telecom companies, I do want to talk about this because it's been affecting today's stream. I think Spectrum belongs in The Hague. Now, they still owe me 200 megabits per second. I am paying for lightning. I am getting hamster on a wheel. Now, they keep telling me it's like infrastructure issues or it's because I moved from one market to another. No. You have just flat out lied to me. When I wanted to switch Spectrum, you told me I could just switch my plan and then transfer it. Then I find out that plan is only available for new customers. So I got lied to. Then I tried to get on that new plan for a new customer, and they told me I had to add some kind of cell phone and get their cell phone service. I flipped out and was like, let me talk to a manager. I'm going to crash out. The guy's like, there's no point in talking to a manager. He's going to tell you the same thing. After asking him to transfer me 3 times, I finally got to speak to a manager who's like, yeah, I see it in the notes. You did get lied to. Then they promised me I'd get 700 megabits per second after having a technician come out twice. I finally got all the hardware that I needed because the other hardware wasn't compatible. And now